Hi, and welcome back. Again, we're going to look at factoring by grouping. This time I'm going to look at a problem that's a little bit more difficult. The reason being is that we now have a coefficient of a that is not 1. So if we look at our coefficients, this one should actually be set equal to 0. So 5x squared plus 36x plus 24. Well, then a has a value of 5, the coefficient b has a value of 34, and the coefficient c has a value of 24. Okay, well, maybe you're saying, how on earth am I going to factor that? Well, it's not actually that difficult. Remember, we're looking for two terms. M plus P should equal to B, and in this case, B is 34. And then M times P should give me 24 times 5. And so 24 times 5, if you want to go ahead and multiply that out, that's going to be, well, 4 times 5 is 20. So I'm going to put my 0 and then carry my 2. 2 times 5, or 5 times 2 is 10. And then plus the 2 that I added to it, so that's going to be 120. So I'm looking for two factors of 120 that when I add them up, they will give me 34. Well, if you're not very good with multiplication or you're not very quick, then maybe you can try some numbers and factor out 24. Maybe you can use a factor tree. However you decide to do that, I'll let you pause the video and figure out what those two factors are. Remember, two factors of 120, when you sum them, should give you 34. So go ahead and figure that out. Okay, well, if you got your two factors, I got M would probably be 30, and then P would probably be 4, okay? And maybe you got them in a different order. M is 4 and 30 is P. It doesn't matter. So now let's rewrite our original equation in standard form, but now instead of using B, we're going to use the coefficients M and P, so we're going to break down B into two coefficients. So it's going to be 5x squared, okay, plus 30x plus 4x plus 24 is equal to 0. Okay, so now, again, I'm going to go ahead and group these according to what I can pull out. Well, if I look at 5x squared plus 30x, it looks like I can group that because I can pull out an x, of course, but then it looks like in this case I can also pull out a 5. And if I look at 4x plus 24, well, it looks like I can pull a 4 out of both of those. So let's go ahead and group these together. Remember, you're not including the addition or subtraction sign if it's in the middle. And of course, if you have a subtraction sign, you will have to change your next sign if you group the last two terms. If you have a subtraction sign in the middle, you have to change the value or the sign, which will be here, of the last term. All right. So now let's pull out 5x. So I'm going to factor out 5x. And I'm going to be left with x plus, well, since I've factored out 5x from 30x, that's going to leave me with 6. And then on this side, I'm going to pull out a 4. And so that's also going to leave me with x plus 6. Okay, so now I've grouped my factors or my terms into two factors. And so of those two factors, I'm going to look for a common factor now. And that common factor is x plus 6. So x plus 6 is going to come out of the brackets. And what would be left in the brackets would be 5x plus 4. And so remember that the next step is to solve and not multiply everything back together. If you would like to check, that's fine. But of course, it's not necessary to multiply everything back together. So x plus 6 is equal to 0. And then 5x plus 4 is equal to 0. So now let's find x in each factor. X in this case would be negative 6. And then over here, I would have 5x is equal to negative 4, and therefore x is equal to negative 4 over 5. And so my two values are x equals negative 6 and x equals negative 4 over 5. So I'm going to leave it for you to check to plug those values back into this original equation to make sure that they work. And of course, you should always do that. All right, I hope this video has been helpful, and I thank you for watching. See you next time.